Hello guys. Welcome back to Around the Leagues podcast. I'm your host, Luke Parrish. With me, as always, will be Keenan Allstott.
How's it going, guys? Episode 2, we're back.
Yeah, we're keep it going. We're going to try to make this thing last as long as we can. Last week we kind of got a little introduction, looking ahead at the Super Bowl. Good week to start. So that means today we're stuck. We got to talk about it. We're talking about last night's game.
True.
So, I guess starting with you, how was your watching experience last night?
So I watched it with a few friends. I actually watched it with some of the guys that I played fantasy football with last year. This year, for our winners, I had some crystal awards designed and made. Had a professional logo done, and so we awarded those out last night, and then we watched the game afterwards. Mostly just did finger foods, cheese platters, breadsticks. Breadsticks aren't necessarily a finger food, but we had a little.
I would argue they are.
So we sat down, enjoyed the game, had quite a bit of fun. So how about yourself, man? How did you watch the game last night?
I watched at home. My brother came over. My dad got home from work a little late, but he watched most of the game with us.
I was exciting.
Yeah, I was stuck on dinner duty, so I had to make tacos, chicken wings, pretzel bites, all this stuff. But no, got done right at kickoff. Got down there and
there we go.
Didn't see coin toss, but I did win my bet for coin toss, so it was all worth it. It was a nice little payout there, but.
There you go.
Yeah, got down to the basement with about 30 seconds to spare. Got my food ready and didn't leave after that. So
alcoholic or non-alcoholic on the drinks?
I don't think we had any. I mean, we had some available, but I didn't have any.
Okay.
Usually I only drink if it's the Vikings playing.
Myself, we went non-alcoholic. We all had school or work this morning, so
yeah,
got to be functional.
Got to play it safe. Yeah,
got to be functional. So, kind of going into the game, however, it was a not like last year's Super Bowl. Had some points scored.
Yeah.
Chiefs, the 49ers won the coin toss. They deferred. Chiefs get the ball immediately with the 3-and-out.
Yeah.
Strategy by Andy Reid there. What did you think of that first possession, and what did you think of that first quarter in general?
That first possession, I think it was a lot of nerves. I mean, you could see Mahomes. I think it was 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, or whatever, and he had that little quick dump off to the side. He missed the running back. I think it's just something he was kind of settling in, and it took him a while to settle in, as we saw throughout the night. But obviously it wasn't a huge impact on the game. It shifted momentum immediately off kickoff, but.
Sure.
The Niners played good defense. They got the ball back, and they went down and put up points to I guess, get off to a hot start. But the first quarter was, it went by quick, but it wasn't super exciting.
No. First quarter ended with Patrick Mahomes, that the short option touchdown. Gets in for the early score. He had himself quite a game, both positive and negative.
Yeah.
26 for 42, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. What did you think of Mahomes' performance overall?
I think a lot can be said about the way he stayed composed throughout the game. He didn't get rattled. But, he had a lot of struggles, and I think that was just because San Francisco was relentless. Nick Bosa, I think that I saw something today, he had double-digit pressures. Sure. Which is absurd, especially for a rookie in the biggest game of his life, and he's just dominating.
Sure.
They got to the quarterback. They made life tough. They shut down the run early, but they're towards the end of the third quarter. I think Kansas City kind of picked it up. But, Mahomes, his first interception, we talked about this a second ago, it was brutal. I don't know if he just didn't see the linebacker or if the ball kind of spun off his hand wrong and kind of tailed back right, because he put it right to Fred Warner. Give Fred Warner credit. I think he's the best linebacker in football. So, I guess he did something right. He was in the right spot, but
True.
It was a bad throw. The second interception was I mean, I think again he was getting so much pressure. He was trying to get the ball out quick. I think he just missed the target by a little bit. And unfortunately, when you're running a crossing route or something over the middle like that, if you're a tad bit behind, that ball's getting popped up no matter what, and it's going to get picked. So we saw that happen, but he didn't let it affect him.
And that second interception came at a crucial point. They were down 10. They were driving down the field. I believe they were in field goal range when it happened.
They might have been. They were either in the red zone or right on the verge of the red zone.
Yeah, you know.
And they were right there, and it was a bad throw.
Mahomes was starting to put it together. He had put
together
a couple good throws. He was moving the ball over the middle, throws that ball slightly behind the receiver, gets tipped, intercepted, and at that moment, I thought San Francisco, they were closing in on a Super Bowl title.
Oh yeah, I thought so too. I thought that right there, I thought at least gave them the last bit of momentum they needed, and
for sure,
it really didn't. I don't know what happened. I guess Kyle Shanahan's just not built for it, but
sure.
I mean, it was a crazy fourth quarter.
Sure.
And
let's talk about that fourth quarter for a minute. The Chiefs go into the quarter down 20-10, and the final score ends up being 31-20. Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City offense, they came out, they put up points quick, they put them up often. What happened to the San Francisco offense, Luke?
I don't know. They didn't abandon the run full 100%, but I mean, they were seeing matchups. I know there was a couple plays where they would have Kittle lined up on Terrell Suggs, and that's a matchup you're going to take every time. And I know there was one, it was batted down at the line. There was one, Garoppolo overthrew his guy over the middle.
Sure.
He had the deep shot down the middle. I think it was when they were down 24-20, had a chance to take the lead. Overthrew that one, and it led to basically that was the last shot they had to make it a game.
Sure.
And I think Garoppolo played well, but he didn't play above expectations. So he wasn't going to
stat line here. I have Garoppolo's stat line. He went 20 for 31, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Is that what you were expecting going into the game, or did you think are over or underperformed?
I think that was about what you would expect. I think him accounting for 1 turnover is pretty common the last basically all this season. Every game you would have about 1. He wasn't going to go out there and throw for 300, 400 yards. I think we knew that, especially seeing the way the run game had taken off. They were going to try to get that established.
Sure.
The 2 interceptions, I mean, the one was obviously basically the Hail Mary there at the end. I don't know I can't remember if it was 3rd or 4th down or whatever, but he chucked up a spot down the middle of the field hoping for just a miracle, and it got picked off.
Sure.
But I mean, he played well, but he just didn't do anything outrageous or anything to really carry the team.
And he got the ball out to several different receivers. No San Francisco receiver had more than 50 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Garoppolo got the ball out to different receivers. He was trying to move the ball down the field. It just seemed that whenever they needed to put up 7 points, they just weren't. They were unable to do it.
Yeah, they stalled a couple times. I know that first drive they started moving the ball, and then they had to stall and kick a field goal. Which, I mean, you're getting points, especially in a game like that where, and a big game, points are a premium. And if you can get anything, you'll take it. But I think when you have a chance to score off of a hot offense, and you have a chance to go down and go up 7 instead of 3, and kind of at least get them on their heels a little bit, and they just failed to do that, and that unfortunately cost them. And then again at the end of the first half, San Francisco had all 3 timeouts, and they didn't take them until they had I don't know if it was a completion or a run up the middle, but they got up to midfield, and then they called it, and then they had the pass interference call on Kittle that brought them back, and they just didn't have enough time to go down and score.
Big momentum.
If you take those timeouts when Kansas City's getting ready to punt and you don't let them run the clock down, and who knows how that second half starts, you could be up 7 instead of tied. You get the ball to start the half, go down and score. Well, then you're up 14.
Sure.
Then you're really forcing the issue, especially at a time when Kansas City's just not moving the ball.
Sure. And look at that fourth quarter. Everyone had talked about that San Francisco defense, how they've been improving, how they've been so great throughout the season. They kind of shut down in the fourth quarter. Was that a product of how good Kansas City's offense was, or do you believe something broke down within the defense?
I don't know. I've been trying to think about that because all night I was sitting out from the couch. I was saying they need to get a deep shot, but they
Sure.
couldn't get that deep shot because they had no time to throw. It was immediately pressure in Mahomes' face, and you're just waiting and waiting for Hardman or for Tyreek Hill to get open down the field, maybe even Sammy Watkins, and it just wasn't happening. And then fourth quarter, he hits that deep shot over the middle, and Hill
Tyreek.
catches it. Yeah, and he sets him up for a score. And when you're looking at it from the perspective of, well, why was there no pass rush? I think part of it's the pass rush is just wearing down. And
Sure.
Mahomes did a good job throughout the night of, even if he was still taking hits or taking sacks, he was moving around in the pocket. He was getting outside and making plays and making those defenders chase. And I mean, over the course of 60 minutes, that's going to wear you out. And I think by the middle of that fourth quarter, that you could kind of see that kind of start taking place, and he took advantage of it.
For sure. 31-20, they closed the door. It showed it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. Kansas City wins their first Super Bowl in 50 years. Revisiting our predictions from last week, you said it was going to be a 45-41 affair in favor of Kansas City. I went a little lower than that. I said 34-27. If you bet the under this weekend, go to your bookie. Go get your pay. I don't believe anybody was offering 40. What was it? Or I guess it was 51. I guess that was about what it ended up closing at. Were you surprised that the game was as low scoring as it was?
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't think it would take Kansas City so long to get going, and I didn't think it would be as tough for San Francisco to run it as it was. I thought they were going to be able to at least put up a couple. Each team was going to score a couple touchdowns in the first half, and that would make the second half more of a shootout type of whoever gets that first stop, not who gets that final score type thing.
Sure.
So I think that changed it, but regardless, I think it was a great game, and it was definitely, even though it wasn't as high scoring as you want, the defense did play an important factor. And as a guy who wants good football, I'll take that every time.
Sure, and you made a good point last week. You said you thought Kansas City was going to save Tyreek Hill for some explosive plays, whether it be on special teams or on the offense. Of course, he had that 44-yarder over the middle that really changed the tide in that game. If they don't make that play, I don't think Kansas City wins the Super Bowl last night.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, the throw was even a little bit underthrown, but he had, I don't know why San Francisco had single high and they had their safety on Hill, knowing Hill's going to beat him. You can't, and safety takes that backside coverage and he's not going to let him run by him. Well, all he has to do is change direction, and he's got 10 yards of space easily, so the ball just floats right to him. That changes the game. And I think the Chiefs, they just do such a good job of that because they trust Mahomes. They know he's going to make that throw if he has to, and eventually once they start expecting it, then they come back and they hit him when it hurts, and they figure it out, and they win big games. So
sure. And Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions, 105 yards, only receiver last night to go for over 100. Congratulations to him, Patrick Mahomes, and the Kansas City Chiefs, your Super Bowl champions. Your Super Bowl MVP last night, as we both correctly predicted last week on our inaugural podcast, Patrick Mahomes. Did you agree with this decision?
By virtue of it being a quarterback award, yes. I do think you could argue it would be Damian Williams, but I still think Mahomes played well in the crunch time to where he deserves credit, and I think that's what the league believe, and I think that's why he got it.
Sure, and looking at their two lines, like I mentioned earlier, Mahomes 26 for 42, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Damian Williams, he went for 17 rushes, 104 yards, 1 touchdown on the ground, 4 receptions, 29 yards, 1 touchdown on the receiving end. Of course, that second touchdown came in the last minute. That's the one that sealed the deal. I don't know. I'd have to give it to Damian Williams, but I totally understand your thinking behind that.
Yeah, I think whichever one you choose, I think everybody's going to be okay with it. I just think, given how often it goes to quarterbacks, I think it was pretty much guaranteed that. And if the Chiefs won, it was going to be Mahomes. If the Niners won, then you have to have a discussion because Garoppolo obviously wasn't going to stand out. I will say, up until the Chiefs took the lead, I thought Nick Bosa was going to get that MVP.
No kidding.
He was, I don't even know, he was just relentless, dominating, scary, malicious. He was getting after him. He was chasing Mahomes every single snap. And I think, I mean, if they pull that win off, I think it's got to be him that is getting that trophy at the end of the night.
And we discussed this last week. If the NFL had a Conn Smythe, which is the postseason MVP, not just the Super Bowl MVP, who would it go to? You said Patrick Mahomes last week. I said up until that moment, I thought it was Derrick Henry. Does your opinion change at all?
No.
You know, it's super fair. You know, I'm looking at Mahomes' stats. He went 72 for 112, 901 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's very good. He played 2 games at home, played the Super Bowl in Miami. Went 24 rushes, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 fumbles. So he could shore that up come next year. Kansas City's going to be a tough team to out in the upcoming years.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 24, and he's already got league MVP.
Starter in the MVP,
Yeah, and he's got MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, obviously. And it's absurd what he's doing. And I think I put something on Twitter today asking if you would put him in the Hall of Fame if he quit right now. And
okay,
I would probably say no, but he has all of the.
He has an argument.
Yeah, he has the accolades that most guys in the Hall of Fame have. He's got a Super Bowl, he's got an MVP, and he's got a Super Bowl MVP. Sure. And I mean, call me crazy, but there's a real argument to be had if you want to put him in Canton right now. Sure. Well, I guess in 5 years from now.
And with Patrick Mahomes, the argument now is going to be how many more can he win? If he wants to make that step towards greatness, if he wants to become in that inner circle of elite quarterbacks, he's got to win at least one more. Of course, Eli Manning won too, so we gotta keep that. That is
true.
We gotta take that into account.
Yeah,
and I mean, Reed won his first Super Bowl last night.
Yeah,
a man who's put in his years between Philadelphia and Kansas City. Were you happy to see him win one?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been an entertaining coach, to say the least.
For sure.
He's worked his ass off, and he's constructed such good teams over the last 15, 20 years, and he just hasn't had that final success that he's been striving for, and he finally got it. And I think a lot of people who follow the NFL know who Andy Reid is, and they want him to succeed, and they finally got to see that moment last night. And he's just a big old goofball.
This year's Chiefs remind me a lot of the 2009 Eagles that he coached. If you remember that team, Michael Vick was the quarterback. He was he was coming back, coming off of his layoff, being in prison. They had Deshaun Jackson. They had a lot of big play individuals on that offense. The Kansas City team kind of resembled the same. You had a mobile quarterback in Patrick Mahomes.
With a strong arm.
Very strong arm, very much like Michael Vick. He had some big play receivers like Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins who can run streaks and get you a long score in a very short amount of time. The problem with Michael Vick and those teams is that he could never stay healthy.
Yeah.
And so Andy Reid was always playing with the backup. Patrick Mahomes went out for a couple weeks this year with that knee. They managed that storm pretty well, and Andy Reid coached him to a Super Bowl. So I think, he hasn't gotten enough credit. I think this now puts him into the upper echelon of not only current NFL coaches, but coaches, of the last 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah. And real quick, I just thought about this. The Chiefs owe the Dolphins some credit. The Dolphins did beat New England in Week 17 to give the Chiefs home field. So that's a small storyline, but it's at least something to consider. So
that is true.
I mean, it was a hell of a postseason run, though.
For sure.
They were down double digits in 3 straight games, and they came back and won every single one of them. Sure. And they get to keep their offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. He'll be back next year somehow. Andy Reid's going to be back. They're going to have their whole core is back. They didn't lose any big coaches. I don't know. I know Sammy Watkins had said he might take a year off next year if they win. So now that they won, we'll see what happens. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
For sure.
Did you make any interesting prop bets last night?
I really didn't. I saw a lot of the interesting ones. I wasn't gutsy enough to put it on. The Gatorade, the color Gatorade that was going to be. A couple of the guys that I watched the game with, they had actually bet on that prop bet. One of my friends got purple at plus 900, and then all of a sudden, the day before the Super Bowl, it went down to minus 145. Whew. Boy, he was excited last night.
My betting account was a little bit drained all week because I kept losing everything. So I had like $1. So I put 10 cents on orange Gatorade.
Woo!
I got 75 cents back this morning.
Plus 750. Let's go.
Yeah, my dad tried to tell me. He said, why don't you just pick red? I was like, nobody likes red Gatorade. That's an obvious choice. It's orange and it's orange or yellow. Those are the only two choices.
That's what I like. Lemon lime all day.
Yeah, I prop bet that, and I did the coin toss, threw out some money on tails, got that, cashing in. Got about $6 last night, not to brag, but
killing the game. And did you bet the spread or the money line on the Chiefs last night?
I didn't place a bet. Not on the game, no. Only on the props. I was too hesitant to pick again because I wanted the Chiefs to win, but I knew if I want them to win, the Niners would win, and I was just I didn't want, and I just wanted a good game, so I wasn't gonna consume myself with stressing over losing the money afterwards.
For sure. Well, the Super Bowl is now over. We got what now? 8 months till football season. So
nah, dude, it's draft season.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Football season never ends around here, know. And so transitioning to the NBA, what we talked about last week, there was two big storylines we were following. We were following the Kobe Bryant death situation. Now that 8 days removed, the emotion is still there, but it's starting to cycle out of the news. And what has cycled back into the news is the return of Victor Oladipo.
Yeah.
And so he returned on Wednesday. Who did he play on Wednesday night?
Chicago.
Played the Chicago Bulls on Wednesday. Played the New York Knicks at home on Saturday. What did you think of Victor Oladipo this week, Luke?
Man, it was nice to have him back. Obviously, I think we finally get to see the pairing of him and Malcolm Brogdon together, which I think a lot of Pacers fans are excited because now they have two good backcourt guards who can play both sides of the ball. Sure. But I think he's obviously got a lot of rust. He didn't play for over a year, so he's going to have to work things out. Personally, I was a little disappointed that he wasn't hitting shots because when you see a guy who, honestly, he just can't move. He was in a bed or a chair basically for 6 months straight, just getting up jump shot. Well, not jump shots, I guess just shots. And he's putting those up and he's hitting them. You see him in practice. Obviously, it's a different environment, but he's hitting the same shots over and over. And then he comes back in his first game. He just can't find that first make, and he's struggling.
Sure.
I can't remember what he shot in the Chicago game. It wasn't great, but I think he was 0 of 6 from 3, and they're down by 3 points with 10 seconds left, and I want the ball. And he chucks up a 30-footer and smacks it, and they go to overtime and win, which I don't know why he took that shot. If I was the coach, I'd prefer it to go to somebody who's at least feeling it that night. But he's your captain. He's your leader. You want to get him kind of back into rhythm. If you lose that game, it's not the end of the world. But then he came out, Saturday night against New York, shot 2 of 14.
I was there. That was painful to watch.
It wasn't great.
As a Knicks fan, though, boy, he came in clutch.
It was interesting to see. It's one of those games where obviously you should beat the Knicks at home and the Eastern Conference, where every game's going to matter here the next few months.
Hey, I agree.
And I understand the Pacers are coming from a place where they want Vic to get shots up. They want him to get acclimated to playing minutes and he's playing with the bench, so he's the best player on the floor easily. So he's going to be up there taking every shot. And he shot 7 shots in his first 6 minutes that night.
Sure.
And didn't hit any of them. But you're just going to let him keep shooting, and hopefully he gets that rhythm down. And unfortunately, it cost him that game because they never got their offense really going. But they've got plenty of time to bounce back. And I think he's expected to start I believe, right after the All-Star break. So give him a couple games of 20, 25 minutes, let him rest up a little bit, and then he'll be back come mid-February.
Sure. And, we touched on the Pacers-Knicks game on earlier a couple minutes ago. I'm a Knicks fan. Luke, you follow the Pacers pretty regularly, and so we have interest in this game, respectively. I'm going to read you off a couple of the stat lines from this game, and you tell me what you think of their individual performances. Domantas Sabonis, 25 points on 10 of 15 shooting, 8 rebounds. What did you think of the first-time All-Star?
Same old for him. He's just been doing that all year, and I think no matter who you put him up against, he's gonna give you trouble, and that's why he's an all-star. And I think he's just been one of the better players to watch this year, just consistently going out, putting up double-doubles, 20-something points, just effortlessly.
For sure. Victor Oladipo, we just mentioned, 2 of 14, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Outside of the shooting, were you surprised to see him be as quote-unquote non-productive without the ball?
Not really. I think we kind of expect him to. It'll take him some time to get acclimated back to the lineup and to get consistent minutes underneath him. So I think him just being on the floor is a good sign for now, and he's to have a nice alley-oop. So he got up for one. So that was good to see that he still has that bounce, and he still played with speed, and that was a big thing.
Rocking after that, let me tell you. I don't know if that plays the TV. It was rocking in the building though.
Yeah.
Something else to mention: Indiana as a team, 0 for 8 from 3 in the first half.
Yup.
They were down double digits at half, and boy, it wasn't looking good for that Indiana offense.
No, they've too many times this year they got off to slow starts. I want to say they're like top 10 in the league in 3-point field goal percentage, but they're bottom 5 in 3-point attempts. Nate McMillan just doesn't like to run a run and gun type offense. He doesn't like to shoot.
Sure.
But to be fair, they do have Sabonis inside who can kind of go to work. Jeremy Lamb likes to drive. T.J. Warren's a good slasher to the paint. So they're not going to take a lot of shots. But when they need them, you've got Doug McDermott off the bench to hit threes. And we'll see how it works hopefully come April and May.
Going to the away team, the perennial top 5 pick, Julius Randle, 16 points, 18 rebounds.
It's impressive. I guess when you have to go up against 19 other power forwards on your roster, you might as well go up there and do something. So.
Oh, it hurts because it's true. Sell the team, please. Marcus Morris Sr., 28 points, 10 of 21 shooting, 12 fourth quarter points, 10 of the Knicks' final 12. What did you think of Marcus Morris Sr.?
I don't know what's going on with the Pacers, man. Every time they play somebody, they have some random dude come in and sauce them. Happened to be Morris on this one. He had what was it? What did you say? 28 points.
28 on 10 of 21 shooting. That's
not even cool. It's absurd. You'll see Terrence Ross when they play the Magic here in a couple of weeks. Probably, I don't know when they play him. What am I talking about? But they'll play Terrence Ross, and they'll probably put up 40 points. It'll be nothing new. There's just always one guy from every team that has the Pacers number. I mean, Chandler Hutchinson from the Bulls on Wednesday, he put up 21 points. It was a career high for him.
You hate to see it.
I don't think half the people in Indiana knew who that was.
They play the Knicks. R.J. Barrett's out.
Yep.
He's dealing with that nagging leg injury. He's going to hopefully be back next week. That's when you have to win if you're Indiana.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're fighting for a home first-round playoff series. You're playing a team that honestly, I'm not even sure they're trying to win, to be honest with you.
Doubt it.
In the LaMelo Ball sweepstakes, if we're being quite honest. You have to win that one if you're Indiana.
Yeah. I don't even care what the circumstances are. I don't care if Vic shot 0 of 50. You still have to win that game.
For sure. And
by
if
far,
the game is tied at 80 with 6 minutes to go. You know Marcus Morris is having himself a game. You got to cover him.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. Last time they played the Knicks at the Garden, it was similar like that. I think it was I think the Pacers were up 5 with 5 minutes left and didn't score the rest of the night. I don't know if the Knicks just have the best final 5-minute defense in the NBA or what, but the Pacers just cannot figure it out against them when it matters. And
well, that's kind of been the story with the Knicks. They either keep it close or lose by 30. You know, there's no real in between. So, you know, that's kind of the story with the New York Knicks and dialogue between the Pacers and the Knicks from Saturday night. So, yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on NBA wise?
Not that I can think of, but something we're gonna do since this is a new podcast.
Yeah,
We'll let you viewers, if you will, get to know us a little bit. So we're just gonna run through over the next few weeks. We'll run through each sport and kind of list our favorite players, or our a fantasy lineup basically of who you like to watch. So I'll let you start with this week. We'll do the NBA. So what's your all NBA team for Keenan Allstott?
Yeah, so the players I'm looking out for this week, all right? I'm going to have 2 guards, I'm going to have 3 forwards, and then I'm going to have a 6th man who's not necessarily coming off the bench, okay? So these are my 5 plus 1 to look out for in the upcoming weeks. From the guard spot, De'Aaron Fox, okay? Point guard, Sacramento Kings. He's averaging 23.4 points, 4.6 boards, and 6.6 assists in his last 5 games. You know, he's out there on the West Coast. For us people in Indiana, morning, I got to be asleep. I can't be Fox, you know. But, you know, the little bit that I am able to watch of him, I'm really impressed by him. He's very, very good. I think he's going to be exciting to watch. And, you know, he's got a, you know, going into the All-Star break here, I think he's going to turn it up a little bit, and I think he's going to average what he has been averaging or better.
Yeah.
My other guard that I'm looking out for, rookie from the Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant, okay? The pride and joy of Murray State, averaging 17.4, 3.4 rebounds, and 8 assists. This guy been tearing it up all year. It's been very entertaining to watch, whether it be with the near posterizing dunks or the way he can pass the ball and just facilitate the offense there in Memphis. You know, Memphis, they got lucky. They didn't necessarily get Zion, but Ja Morant, if he does not win the Rookie of the Year, unless Zion goes out and puts up 100 sometime this season, Ja Morant should be a shoe-in, right in for Rookie of the Year.
I agree, yeah.
And
he's no Zion, but he's the next best thing, and he'll take that at number 2, I think.
I mean, if it was any other draft class of the last 10 years, Ja Morant likely goes number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, Zion and him were on another level. I like R.J. Barrett, plays for the New York Knicks, but I would have much rather preferred to have Ja Morant, facilitating our offense, you know. From the forward position, Domantas Sabonis, we touched on him earlier. You know, he just got his first All-Star selection. Dude's been putting up very consistent numbers there for the Pacers. 21.4 in his last 5, 11.2 boards, and he's even averaging 6 assists. No, he's been a cornerstone of the Indiana offense this season. I think he's got big things looking out for him as the season progresses. And if Indiana wants to make a deep run in the Eastern Conference playoffs this year, that, you know, everyone assumes Milwaukee's probably going to be in the finals and in the Eastern Conference finals especially. That other spot is wide open.
Yeah.
It can go to the surging Toronto Raptors. It can go, you know, to the Pacers. It could go to the Sixers. That spot is up for grabs. If Indiana wants a chance to be playing late May, potentially early June basketball, they need Domantas Sabonis to put up big numbers for them coming up. And they can't be losing to the Knicks. Speaking of the Knicks, Julius Randle. He's also going to be on my forwards here. 19.6 in his last 5, 12.6 boards, assists. He's been pretty trash, 2.8. But I got Ja Morant, okay? I don't need him all the time, okay? Julius Randle, you know what you're getting from him. You know, he's going to put up pretty similar numbers going throughout. Plus, he's playing for the Knicks. The Knicks, I could probably go try out for him right now and become their sixth man. That's about how much talent is on the New York at the moment. A lot of their offense goes through Julius Randle. If the Knicks even have a snowball's chance in hell of winning a game, Julius Randle's got to perform. I think as we go into the All-Star break and in the upcoming weeks leading out of the All-Star break, I think Julius Randle is going to be a key piece of their offense. And then from my center position, probably one of my favorite players in the NBA, Nikola Jokic. You know, he is a big man. He's got good hands. He knows how to shoot the ball. He's very, very smart. Plays for the Denver Nuggets, a team that doesn't get a lot of media attention. I think he gets slept on pretty heavily by everybody, whether it be basketball media or mainstream media. I think it's a shame, too, because I think he's one of the better players. Averaging 26.6, 9.8 boards, and 9.2 assists in his last 5. Nearly averaging a triple-double, and the dude gets almost no attention. I don't understand why or how. The dude is quiet. Dude is humble. Dude makes nothing but smart decisions. One of the most efficient players in the game. I really like Nikola Jokic. Be looking out for big things from him in the second half of the season. My sixth man, not necessarily a sixth man. I called the Toronto Raptors winning the World Championship last year before Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant got injured. And, you know, it ended up happening the way it happened. One of the biggest reasons, this man right here, Pascal Siakam. I really like Pascal Siakam. Averaging 25, 7.6, and 3.2 in his last 5. Pascal Siakam, fantastic basketball player. Be looking out for big things to him coming up.
Well, I will say I like your list. You've got Sabonis and Jokic, and I think those are the two best passing bigs in the league. So
sure.
Julius Randle can kind of take a back seat to them on that, and I think Jokic and Sabonis are both excellent with the ball. So you can't really go wrong. Plus, you got Morant. I mean, that would be one hell of an offense there.
For sure.
I agree with you. I also had De'Aaron Fox on my list. He's my favorite player in the NBA right now. He just plays with so much speed. He has so much energy on the court. He'll dunk on dudes. I saw him a couple weeks ago. He dunked on half the team. I can't remember who it was. I tried to go see him in Indy a couple weeks ago, but I couldn't make it, unfortunately. But, you know, I'll be there probably next year and the year after that and the year after that. So
sure.
He's taken over. He reminds me a lot of John Wall, especially when John Wall was younger before all the injuries.
Sure.
My second guard had Damian Lillard.
Okay.
Contrary to Fox, I will be seeing Lillard here at the end of the month in Indy.
Okay.
He's playing out of his mind right now. I think over his last 9 games, he's averaging I think it was 41 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists or something. And then over his last 5, he's up to 48 points. I know he had a 61-point performance a couple weeks ago. He's playing at an absurd level. I mean, Portland's not looking good. They haven't really been winning as many games as we would expect, especially after the year they had last year. But I think you could still make the case that Damian Lillard's the MVP of the league with a losing record, which is honestly impressive. My front court, I would go. Indy fans are going to hate me, but I got to still respect Paul George. A lot of this goes back to 2K. He's got the best jump shot on 2K. And I mean, he has a lot of, he sits out a lot with back-to-backs and stuff, but I saw him in Indy this year. Finally got to see somebody drop 30 Bankers Life. Don't really see that often. It was an opponent, but I mean, Paul George he's fun to watch. He's got a good jump shot. He plays both ends of the ball.
For sure.
Obviously, things didn't end the way we would expect, but we'll take it now with Oladipo and Sabonis in his place. My other forward, I like Kelly Oubre a lot. I don't know why. Ever since he came out, I remember I wanted him to be drafted over, I believe he was in Miles Turner's class, and I wanted the Pacers to go up for him. I've followed him. I know he was traded from Washington to Phoenix. He's kind of revived his career a lot. He was struggling quite a bit with the Wizards. He's now a huge part of the Phoenix future, I believe. So I think he'll be somebody that'll just be fun to watch. He's got a lot of athleticism, a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and I think soon he can take over games next to Devin Booker. So once he gets the 3-point shot down, I think he'll be one of the most exciting guys in the league.
Sure.
My big Andre Drummond. It's another one I can't figure out why. I think it's again from 2K. But I love watching Andre Drummond. He kicks the Pacers' ass every time he plays them. He can put up 30 and 30 if he wants to.
Sure.
He's good on the boards. He can dominate in the paint if he gets the ball down low. He just isn't great he doesn't have a good jump shot or free throws or anything like that. So he's not going to put up a bunch of points, but he's definitely one of those guys that he'll get you the ball underneath the basket, and that's what a big is primarily supposed to do. And then my homer pick for my sixth man, I got to go to Vic Oladipo right now. I think he's just the guy.
His stock's low.
Yeah, that is true.
High,
I think there was a lot of people who bashed on that trade when it first happened, when they got him in return for Paul George.
But next time,
Yeah, but he brought life back to the city, and he's not really a hometown guy. He's from Maryland, but he went to IU. Sure. He has that hometown respect. So seeing him kind of bring the love of basketball back to Indiana, I think that's something we love to see. So that's my list, and I'll stick by it.
I love it. And, for those of you guys watching next week, be sure to tune in next week. Pitchers and catchers report next week for the Major League Baseball season. I know me and Luke are looking forward to that pretty big. Next week, we're going to go through each team's over-under on the wins and give our predictions on that. I think you'll be surprised to maybe hear some of our predictions. Kind of looking this week at sports, Luke, is there anything that you're looking forward to that we have not discussed so far on the podcast?
Only thing that I can really think of right now is the XFL kicks off.
Woo!
I think it kicks off on Saturday, so.
Go Battlehawks.
Let's go Battlehawks.
I've been a day one Battlehawks fan, man.
I have too. Well, I've been since draft day Battlehawks fan.
Man, I tell you, man, we cut from a different cloth when it comes to these Battlehawks.
We'll throw a party when they win it. It's no big deal. I did see they have like the lowest odds to win the title this year, but what do they know,
Yeah, I was about to say they haven't seen the Battlehawks offense, It's their best season yet.
Oh yeah, easily.
I got a good feeling, man. Is there anything else you're looking forward to?
Not that I can think of. Anything you want?
Yeah, this Saturday night, UFC. I believe it's 248, maybe. I'm not sure what the number is. I didn't prepare. John Jones, Dominic Reyes for the light heavyweight championship of the world. It's not too often you get two undefeated fighters in pretty much all sense of the word. John Jones has one loss. It was an illegal 12-6. Worst rule in the book. Dominic Reyes undefeated as well. I think that's going to be a great fight. Expect John Jones to win it, but if Dominic Reyes can catch him, he could turn his lights off. Second title fight, Valentina Shevchenko. She'll defend her title against some tomato can. I'm going to disrespect her. I don't know her name. It doesn't matter. Put my life savings on Shevchenko for the W on Saturday night. I think both champions retain their title, and I think that's what I'm going to be watching come Saturday night.
All right. I respect it.
All righty, guys. Well, I believe that's all the content we have for you guys today. Me and Luke, we very much appreciate you guys watching. Wherever you might be watching us, however you might be watching us, thank you guys very much. Be sure to tune in next week for some Major League Baseball talk. We'll come back in with a little bit of basketball and whatever else we decide to do. So I'm Keenan Allstott.
I'm Luke Parrish.
And thank you guys very much, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. See you guys next week.